Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. I'm here today with the list of all the ebooks that are on my TBR. This TBR is not like the monthly TBR that I make. This TBR is a list of all the books that I own, be it physical copies, be it ebooks, be it audiobooks. This is a collection of all those books that I own. And since I do not have all my physical copies here in Sydney, all my books are back at home in Hyderabad, India. I thought, why not do this kind of a video. I've done a similar video before where I spoke about all the books that are on my TBR. That included both all kinds of books, be it paperbacks, hardcovers, ebooks, audiobooks, everything was on there. But here, since I mostly rely on libraries and my Kindle, I'm going to be talking about all the ebooks on my TBR. As in that video, I won't be talking anything about the books in this video. I'm just going to be listing them out. If there's anything that I want to say something about, if there's any book like that, then I will say it, but otherwise you're just going to see a list of books. So be prepared, because there are a lot of ebooks, because whenever I see an ebook that's like priced 30-40 rupees, I'll be like, this looks interesting, I'm going to buy it because it will be there with me wherever I go, and I've been taking full advantage of them. Yeah, so without any further ado, let's dive right into this video and let me share with you all the ebooks on my TBR. A quick note before we get on with this video. I got a little excited while making this video, and I realized while editing that I had not mentioned some ebooks that are on my TBR, but I hadn't updated them in my Kindle ebooks column. So I will be mentioning those in intervals. So if you see a sudden change in setting, it's because of that. Sudden change in setting, makeup, and the way I look. So it's completely because of that. First is The Good Neighbor by A.J. Banner. This was something that I bought in 2018 and I still haven't gotten to it. And I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those plot twists. This is not actually a good neighbor kind of books. So yeah. Next is Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen. I have the list here, so that's where I'm reading it from. Cards on the Table by Agatha Christie. This is one of my most recent purchases, and you know how much I love Agatha Christie, so there's that. The Roads to Saturn by Alan Booth. Solitaire by Alice Oseman. I have a physical copy of this book back home, but since it's there and I can't read the physical copy obviously right now, so I bought the Kindle edition of it recently. It's a very recent purchase, and since it's Alice Oseman, it was a no-brainer really. The Great Derangement, Climate Change and the Unthinkable by Amitav Ghosh. This one also I have a physical copy, but I had bought the Kindle edition way before I got this physical copy. This one I got as a prize or a gift in a sort of a video that I had participated. Rules of Civility by Amor Towles. I have a physical copy of A Gentleman in Moscow, but this one I got an ebook because I saw that it was at a very great deal. Alan Turing, The Enigma by Andrew Hodges. This is about, obviously, Alan Turing. Abhimanyu by Anuja Chandramouli. This is an author review copy. The author has sent me the book and I am planning to read it soon. I don't know how soon, but I will read it, and it's not a Kindle copy, but I have it with me and I'm super excited to read it because Anuja Chandramouli's writing is really powerful. It's power-packed, it's empowering, and she writes beautifully, although it can be a little tedious to read. Satvik, Foods of India by Anupama Shukla. This is about the Satvik movement, and I think there are recipes also in there. I started reading this, got about 16-17% in and just paused because I wanted to make notes, but since then I haven't gone near it. The Monsters Still Lurk by Aruna Nambiar. Two books by Aisha Kulin, Last Train to Istanbul and A Rose of Sarajevo. Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertalli and Aisha Saeed. What We See in the Smoke by Ben Berman. This is a NetGalley arc that I got, I think 3 years ago, and I still haven't gotten around to it. Then 3 books by Blake Crouch. These are the 3 books in the Wayward Pines trilogy. The first one is Pines, the second is Wayward, and the third is The Last Town. Catalyst by Chandramouli Venkatesan. I read this author's Get Better at Getting Better and I really liked it, so I got this one as well. Another recent purchase is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. I've heard that this is a very spooky kind of book and I thought I'll read it for Halloween, but that didn't happen. Kim Ji-young, Born 1982 by Cho Nam-joo and Jamie Chang, and I've heard so many amazing things about this book. Looking forward to reading it as soon as possible. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I don't even know why this is on my TBR, yeah. Colleen Hoover. Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. I'm having second thoughts about this. Let me know if you think I should remove this book or if this isn't as bad as some of her other books. Three Daughters, a novel by Consuelo Sa-Ber. I hope I didn't butcher that name. I'm really sorry if I did. The Innocent, the first in the Will Robbie series by David Baldacci. Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. You know, my relationship with Douglas Stewart's writing isn't that great. I didn't like Shuggy Bane at all. But earlier this year I got approved for the arc for Young Mungo and I got really excited. But then again things happened and I was not able to read this book. So Wreckage by Emily Bleeker. What to Read and Why by Francine Prose. Got this just because of the title, nothing else. The 6 books in the Dune series by Frank Herbert. I've heard so many mixed things about this series, about Frank Herbert's writing and about appropriation and all of that, which is why they'll be like, every time I see this on the list, I'm like, The Storied Life of A.J. Fikri by Gabrielle Zevin, and this is one that I am on the block tour for as part of the Algonquin Books block tour. An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I read You Are Not Alone by this author duo in early 2020. I liked it, and then I read another book by this duo. I don't remember the name. What was it? The Wife Between Us. I don't know, it was a very mixed experience with them, but this is on my TBR. I want to see if this redeems their writing any which way for me. Shantaram by Gregory David Roberts. 2 books by Hank Green, an absolutely remarkable thing and a beautifully foolish endeavor. And I know I need to read these. Maybe I can get the copies at the library and maybe I can read the physical copies. The Sisterhood by Helen Bryan. The Folk of the Air trilogy by Holly Black. The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing. Lihaf by Ismat Chugtai. I tried reading this book. I tried to start it, but it was a little too heavy for me at that moment in time, but I am going to read it. The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. This was supposed to be a Drama Queen-a-thon book, but I wasn't able to read it, but the people who did said that this is a very gory book, and it's still on my TBR. I don't know why. My Husband and Other Animals by Janaki Lennon. Bombay Balchow by Jane Borges. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, but yeah, I've heard amazing things about this book and I'm hoping that I will be able to read this as soon as possible. The Betty Davis Club by Jane Lauter. Boats on Land, a collection of short stories by Janice Parriott, and Janice Parriott is an author who I've heard amazing things about, especially the book The Nine-Chambered Heart. But this one was available at a huge deal, a huge discount, so I was like, okay, we are going to get started on Janice Parriott's books, one of them, even if it's not her most famous one. The Book of Chocolate Saints by Jeet Thail, another book that I had an e-copy of, but I got the physical copy of from someone who was unhauling it on Instagram. So since the physical copy is in India, I'm going to consider this to be an e-copy, a Kindle ebook. What Lies Between Us by John Mars. Diary of a Prison Officer by Josie Channer. Sophie's World by Jo Steengarder. The Help by Catherine Stockett. This is one book that I'm still like going back and forth on whether I should read or not, because it tells the story of black women from a white woman's perspective. 2 books by Kavita Kane, Lanka's Princess and Karna's Wife. An Unquiet Mind by K. Redfield Jamison. I think this is a book about bipolar disorder, which I found I think three years ago, and I really wanted to read about bipolar more for some reason. I don't even remember what it was. The Unconsoled by Kazuo Ishiguro. The Devotion of Suspect X by Kigo Higashino. Kigo Higashino is such a fabulous writer. I recently read Salvation of a Saint and was blown away by the way he writes his characters, he writes his plot, everything. Like, it's so intricate, it's amazing. The Overdue Life of Amy Byler by Kelly Harms. The first 2 books in the Everything series by Kerry Lonsdale, Everything We Keep and Everything We Left Behind. Next 2 books, the second and third books in the Crazy Rich Asians series by Kevin Kwan, China Rich Girlfriend and Rich People Problems. And then Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson, Things We Say in the Dark by Kirsty Logan, and then a trilogy by Laini Taylor, which I feel like a lot of people love, but I hadn't seen a lot of it on social media, and that is the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. The first book is Daughter of Smoke and Bone, the second book is Days of Blood and Starlight, and the third is Dreams of Gods and Monsters. And then Freedom at Midnight by Larry Collins and Dominique Lapierre. This is a book that I was supposed to read I think last year for the Partition Literature collab that we had going, but I couldn't read this. I read Ice Candyman instead. The Color of Secrets by Lindsay Jane Ashford. The Book of Lost Friends by Lisa Wingate. There's Gunpowder in the Air by Manoranjan Vyapari and translated into English by Arunava Sinha. I've heard such great things about Arunava Sinha's translations, and he's one of the most vocal people in the Indian publishing industry, and I'm really looking forward to this one. False Allies, India's Maharajas in the Age of Ravi Verma by Manu S. Pillai. Okay, so the next one was for a video that I thought I would do, but that idea went out the window. But this is The Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams Bianco. I started reading it, but I realized that maybe that was not the time to read it. Even though I'm not a believer in you have to read only romance books in February, you have to read only these books in this month, etc, etc, but let's see what happens with this idea. Beneath a Scarlet Sky by Mark Sullivan. Grunt, The Curious Science of Humans at War by Mary Roach. A River in Darkness, One Man's Escape from North Korea by Masaji Ishikawa. Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. The Secret Diary of Kasturba by Nilima Dalme Adhar. The Overcoat by Nikolai Gogol. This is because it appears in the namesake. Those of you who have read Namesake know what I'm talking about. The Color of Water in July by Nora Carroll. House of Stone by Nobuyo Rosat Shuma. On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Wong. Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahamsa Yogananda. I have a physical copy of this also back at home, but since it's there, I'm going to consider this to be an ebook. Yachna Seni by Pratibha Ray. Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Hello Bastar by Rahul Pandita. I read Our Moon Has Blood Clots by this author and I was like stunned. I mean, I bought this book long before I read Our Moon Has Blood Clots. It's like I knew this author's writing was going to get to me. The Daughters of Madurai by Rajashree Warrior, and this is just because it's an Indian author that I requested it on NetGalley. Of course, I did read the blurb, but you know my memory. The Peshwa, The Lion and the Stallion by Ram Sivasankaran. And next are a bunch of books by Robert Dugoni. The first is The Seventh Canon. I don't know what this is about, but the next are the second to the seventh in the Tracy Crosswhite series, which is like a collection of connected murder mystery novels. I think I've just read the first book, which is I think My Sister's Grave, and it was great. It was a great read. I love the writing, I love the intrigue, I love the suspense, and which is why these are here and I'm really looking forward to reading them. Coma by Robin Cook. In the Watchful City by S. Kyoe Liu. I really hope that I pronounced the name right, but this is another NetGalley arc and I have seen a couple of people talk about it on, I don't think it was Instagram, I think it was BookTube, I don't remember exactly, but I'm really hoping that this will turn out to be amazing. Like, isn't that the hope with every book? But still. Manto, 25 short stories by Saadat Hasan Manto, and this is a book that I've been vacillating about whether or not I should DNF it or whether I should continue with it because of the vocabulary in there. Since I'm already learning a new language and this vocabulary is just making me want to learn what they are, but then again I know my brain won't be able to take it, so yeah. Draupadi, The Tale of an Empress by Sai Swarupa Iyer. Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie. Meaty by Samantha Irby. The Tree with 1,000 Apples by Sanchit Gupta. Two books by Sarah A. Denzel, whose The Broken Ones I read earlier this year and I absolutely loved it. She has a great way of writing a suspense, of writing a psychological thriller. And these two books that are yet on my TBR are Saving April and Silent Child. I'm thinking both of these are of the same genre and I'm really looking forward to reading them. The Great Indian Novel by Shashi Tharoor. An Era of Darkness, The British Empire in India by Shashi Tharoor. This is another book which I had the e-copy, the Kindle ebook for, but then I went and bought the physical copy as well. I got the hardcover for a pretty decent price, like not even decent, it was cheap, and but since I had to leave that book behind in India, again ebook comes back. And then 3 books by Shatrujit Nas. These are the first 3 in the Vikramaditya Veer Gatha series. The first is The Guardians of the Halahala, the second is The Conspiracy at Meru, and the third is The Vengeance of Indra. I'm yet to get the 4th book as well. I think this is a quartet of sorts, but I don't have a great idea about what exactly this series is about. And you know, I love going into a book or a series blind, and I love when it surprises me. So Lean In, Women, Work and the Will to Lead by Sheryl Sandberg. The Rudest Book Ever by Shwetab Gangwar. I'm just hoping this doesn't turn out like another do epic shit. Next were 2 books by Silvia Moreno Garcia, but I finished reading one very recently. The one that I finished reading recently is Mexican Gothic, which is ultra creepy, and the other book is Gods of Jade and Shadow, and I've heard amazing things about that book as well, so let's see how that goes. On the Map, Why the World Looks the Way It Does by Simon Garfield. And then 2 books, again, NetGalley Arcs. One is Blue Skinned Gods by S.J. Sindhu. I've heard of people that I really trust, I've heard that they love this book, so that gives me hope. I'd requested it long before, but seeing them read about it and all, it gives me renewed hope, you could say. And the second is The Woman in the Library by Sulari Gentil. I requested it because of the title. The Murmur of Bees by Sofia Segovia. 12 Years a Slave by Solomon Northup. Surprise Me by Sophie Kinsella. It by Stephen King, because I'm a masochist. The Library Book by Susan Orlean. And again, because I'm a masochist, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. The Collected Poems by Sylvia Plath. And then 2 books by Tamsin Muir. These are horror books, if I'm not mistaken. The first one is Gideon the Ninth and the second one is Harrow the Ninth. These are the first 2 books in the Logged Tomb trilogy. And then The Friend by Teresa Driscoll. And then Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I had a physical copy of the book, but I lent it to my brother and he has the book right now. And I was getting the Kindle ebook for a pretty decent price, so I got the ebook, which I'm really happy I did because it's coming in news now. I don't know when I'll read it, maybe non-fiction November could be a thing. Coming out as Dalit by Yashika Dutt. I have the physical copy for this book back in India, but since we were moving here, ebook is the way to go for this one. But I bought the ebook before I bought the physical copy, that much I'm sure, but I wanted to annotate this book, but not happening now. And the last book in this video on this list is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. So I don't know the number. I think there are about 130 books, 30 ebooks that I have that are unread. So those were all the ebooks on my TBR. Which of these have you read? Which ones do you want to read? Which of these ebooks are on your TBR? Which ones do you have as ebooks? Which ones do you have as physical copies? How many books are on your TBR? How many of them are ebooks? How many of them are physical copies? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.